poison dart frogs. Should you eat them? No. So don't eat poison frogs, kids. It is not wise to feed on a tree frog. My name's John Hudson. I'm the UK military's chief survival instructor, author of How to Survive, and today I'm going to be reacting to Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. So it looks like that's quicksand, doesn't it, walking into it? And the problem with trying to walk into quicksand is you're not going to get out the other side. Your best bet is to stop and then maybe go backwards. You wouldn't actually be able to walk the way he's walking really either, unless there's like maybe a layer of water on top of it. If you stay and you start to settle in, then there's not a lot you're going to be able to do. And even if you've got a mate with you, they're not necessarily going to be able to like hoik you out of it. It's such a huge load. It's like having wet cement around you. And eventually, if you sink deep enough, I mean, that can even constrict your chest and stop you breathing. Yeah, so quicksand can be quite hard to spot if it's hidden in a sea of sand. So up north where I grew up, in Morecambe Bay, it's renowned for catching people out because you can't spot the quicksand from the rest of the sand. But in a tropical forest like this, there won't be stuff growing in it. It's going to look like a sandy pool with nothing on it. It's going to be fairly flat and level, you know, one of the flattest areas you'll find. Normally, you're going to recognise that as either standing water or you know, boggy ground at best, and you're going to want to box around it. So you'd spot it in a forest.
Snake, be careful of that swamp.
What's dangerous about it?
It's a bottomless swamp.
A bottomless swamp.
That looks just like the hornet's nests I've seen in the jungle. Vary in size, but they look like kind of brown paper, and they're normally hanging upside down on off trees. The distance that he's trying to shoot it with his pistol, I mean, that's pretty good marksmanship, isn't it, with a handgun? We're getting into Clint Eastwood territory, sort of shooting ropes and things. Would you be able to weaponise a hornet's nest? If you could knock it down near somebody, that'd annoy them, wouldn't it? They're going to swarm out. I don't know, why doesn't he just shoot the guard? I mean, maybe he wants him to run off and get injured, so he takes other people out of the fight. How's he going to stop the hornets coming back towards him? Because they are pretty aggressive over there. We get them over in this country and they're just quite docile, but pretty inventive stuff if you're that good a shot, I suppose. If I found a hornet's nest, I wouldn't be 100% convinced that everyone had left it, so I'd probably steer well clear of it myself. Injuries in survival situations, there are kind of two types, you know. There's the ones that you can treat on site yourself, and there's the other ones where you need professional help. And if you're on your own, for whatever reason, if you need professional help, then you're going to have to get rescued and get out of there. So some of the major injuries that we've seen in the clip, they're the kind of things that would normally be a Kazivac. If you're stuck on your own and there's nothing that anyone can do to help you, then yeah, you're going to have to try to do some self-aid. Pain relief, biting a piece of wood. I don't know if he's doing that to prevent him biting his tongue or to prevent screaming if he's in hostile territory. The context of Snake's injuries here, elbow and you know, those sort of upper limb injuries, they can be pretty debilitating because even if you can pop it back in, there'll be swelling and soreness. So he's probably going to have to immobilise it for a bit, which will affect what he can do. And then the ribs, that's painful. If you've ever broken your ribs doing any contact sports, it's horrible because every time you breathe, it hurts, and certainly don't want to go sneezing or rolling around. So it is going to hurt. So yeah, take your painkillers and I suppose get on with it would be the answer there.
We have evidence of an enemy intruder. Commence alert formation.
It's really, really easy to hide in the jungle. We teach escape and evasion in jungles, and you don't necessarily need brilliant camouflage, you just need to stay still. I've certainly walked right past people and people have walked right past me just because I or they were both still. And the camouflage that you wear in a hot tropical environment, eventually it's all going to turn a really, really dark shade of colour anyway because you're sweating profusely. Counterintuitively, you want to start off a couple of shades lighter if you're working hard. I don't know how he's changing all the patterns. He must have an enormous rucksack like a mobile wardrobe or something. And then the face cam. You don't actually need that much camouflage cream on your face, and he has missed a bit behind his ears and under his chin. Common mistake. As long as you stay still when there's people looking for you, you've got an amazing chance of not being found, provided they're just using their eyes and they've not got thermal cameras. You know, he'd struggle if he was up against Predator. Leeches are everywhere in tropical forests. At some point, they'll be on your skin. And it's pretty gross if you're not used to that kind of thing. You know, it does freak a few people out, but you just get really used to it. So the advice that's given in the game about lighting a cigar and then, burning them out, well, it's dead macho, but it'll give your presence away. People will smell the tobacco smoke. That carries a long way. So you don't want to be lighting cigars just to get rid of leeches. If you do things like that, there's a risk that the leech can vomit, and that will put parasites potentially into your bloodstream. The easiest and best way to get rid of a leech, and I've done this thousands of times, normally it goes under your watch strap, is just flick it. So you'll read online different ways of doing it, quite convoluted ways, but if you've got loads of them on you, just flick them off.
I haven't eaten in so long.
If Snake can deny the people he's fighting the opportunity to eat, then that's going to help him, because they're going to be distracted, they're going to be trying to find food. But yeah, being hungry, it will affect your performance. And for me, when I'm doing jungle survival, stuff manifests itself by people being more clumsy with sharp cutting tools. They're not concentrating, they've not got enough of that vital glucose to make their brain work effectively, they're making bad decisions and possibly swinging a machete when they shouldn't be, and that can end up stuck in your lower leg. So yeah, not a bad tactic. Whether or not it can take out the whole supply store, difficult. And I'd probably, if I was going to do that, which I wouldn't because I'm Royal Air Force, I'd probably set fire to it rather than blow it up. They're not looking for a hostile actor then, it could just be a faulty lamp or something else that's caused the fire. So the speeded up footage we've just seen is pretty realistic. Your eyes can't instantly change back to night vision. It takes about 3/4 of an hour. But like he's just done, if he's going instantly from light to dark, you're kippered for 45 minutes. You're not going to be able to use night vision. And if you're in a really deep, dark cave, as you probably know for anyone who's been in them, there isn't much natural light anyway. So you can have 100% adapted night vision, but if there's no light getting into the cave, you still won't see anything. "100%, I've never navigated through a cave using the light of a cigar to guide me, so I've got no first-person experience of that." I do like the idea of him trying to mooch past with a crocodile's head. I think it'd probably be slightly more convincing if he swam with it on rather than walking upright. That's going to pass first glance, isn't it? Oh, look, crocodile's head. Every now and then we do get inventive students on evasion type courses who'll pretend to be a pantomime horse crossing Dartmoor or something like that. They normally get caught. Anything that's sort of hunting for somebody is probably going to have a thermal capability as well. And it won't take long for them to realise it's a mammal in the water rather than a reptile. I geeked out a bit when we were going to chat, and that poison frog only lives in Central America. It's pretty poisonous, but in order to be poisonous, it has to live in its normal environment, which means it eats other poisonous stuff or stuff with acids in it, like ants and things. Suspend our disbelief about why a Central American frog is in Russia and go, all right, so it's poison dart frogs. Should you eat them? No. So don't eat poison frogs, kids. It is not wise to feed on a tree frog. So first and foremost, eating fungi as a survival food is a rubbish idea. There's so many different types of fungi. There's so little calorific value. 100 grams of fungi's got about 20 calories in it. It's Russian roulette, and there's not that much calorific value. The fungi he's found there, the ink cap variety, is quite interesting because it's got some toxins in it. So you could eat it, but if you eat it and then have alcohol, it will make you violently ill. And then the snake that he's found, that coral snake, a pattern to them, they go black, yellow, red, or red, black, yellow. And the rhyme that goes with it is red on black, venom black, red on yellow will kill a fellow. But again, you've got a 50-50 chance of it being a lethally poisonous snake or a benign little snake. It's easy calories if you can get your hands on them. The best advice you'll get about survival food is always try to cook it if you can. And the best way to cook it, if you can, is to boil it so you're keeping all the nutrients. But yeah, if you eat reptiles raw, there's all sorts of parasites on the skin and you're going to end up probably being sick. It's really hard to get an impression of what it's like to live in a jungle, but I think this game does a pretty good effort of representing that environment because you can't see very far, the foliage is dense, the light levels are low, and the noises seem fairly realistic to me. You can really sense the kind of terrain he's moving over just by the noise his feet are making. So in terms of realism for the environment, I'd give it a pretty high score, maybe 9 out of 10. In terms of survival techniques, I want a rucksack like his that can hold all that stuff and not weigh much. Bottomless pit would be awesome. The things he does, not too bad. He's inventive, very resourceful, so giving him about a 7.5 out of 10, I reckon.
Want more videos like this one? Make sure to watch John react into the forest or some gameplay from the upcoming Master Collection.